Welcome to Kevjet the podcast. Mark Foster, Olympian broadcaster, keynote speaker, and now we can say author.
That's weird. Well, technically, yeah, I am an author. I suppose I've got a book out, but somebody did the hard work and did the proper writing bit. I think if I wrote it, it wouldn't flow so well, and it wouldn't tell such a good story, probably.
Well, I think it would, because at the end of the day, it's still your story.
True. No, it's true. It's true. But when someone sort of, I don't know, that at school I was really good at logic. I got maths, and I was good at those subjects. But when it came to the English language, which I should be quite good at because I speak it, I was not very good at it. I was not very good at because I think it comes from being slightly dyslexic as a kid, only slightly, but also not very good at reading. So I didn't read. And I think it's like with anything in life, when you don't do something, you don't get any better at it. So had I read a little bit more, when it came to those sort of English exams, English lit or English language, I might have done a little bit better had I studied it. But then again, as we all get older, we kind of realize that we should have done things a little bit differently. Maybe.
Yeah. Who knows? I think I'm just going to start with kind of a big question. So if the 12-year-old Mark could be looking at you right now, sitting here in front of me, what do you think he'd be most proud of?
God, it's deep. Well, that's not deep. It's a good question, and I haven't really thought about it. I would probably say, there's a number of things that I suppose as a 12-year-old, we're all kind of trying to figure it out. I say figure it out. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're just at 12 years of age. You're just doing, and life's happening to you. I suppose that things would be all right. Not that I was a warrior, because I'm not a warrior. That the hours and hours and hours and hours and hours spent ploughing up and down a pool with my teammates and in my own head would turn out the way it did. It was very, very cool. I had a good life within the sport. That whatever feelings were going on, whatever I thought I may or may not be, would be whatever I chose to be was going to be okay. I don't know. There's a lot. I've not got one simple answer because I've not really thought about it too much before, Kev.
Yeah, no, it's great. Everyone knows you as the Olympian, but who is Mark when nobody's watching?
I always maintain that Mark is just Mark. So regardless, that might sound a little bit stupid, but wherever I've been, whatever I've done, it's just Mark. So when I get invited when I went to the Oscars, when I went to the BAFTAs, when I carried the flag around the opening ceremony, or when I broke the world record, it was just, I don't know, it was just me. I wasn't anything special. I was just Mark, the kid from Essex, from Southend-on-Sea, that grew up being good at sport, being good at swimming. I just have to be good at something that took me places, but ultimately it just came. I'm just the same person underneath it all, which is just Mark.
What did success cost you that nobody saw?
A few nights out, I suppose. When I was, God, I don't know. When I was on the team, and I represented Britain for 23 years at senior level. There were little moments when being on the team where, let's say, conversations were happening, whether it be with the girls, with the boys together, where I would be avoiding certain conversations or certain situations, or getting dragged into them, so I couldn't avoid. And I, rather than being completely and utterly honest and present, I'd be thinking of a story, thinking of a way out, thinking of a way that I could describe things. So what did it cost me? I guess I wasn't completely present all the time. I wasn't authentically me, because I was trying to be a version that that I thought the world wanted to see.
Yeah. Swimming is kind of a lonely sport, isn't it? You're because it's a solo thing. You're in the pool on your own.
Yeah.
Does loneliness ever become your competitor?
No, I don't think so. When you're in the pool, you're in your own thoughts.
Yeah.
But I'm in a pool with a load of other people, so
Yeah.
I'm not alone in that sense. But when you're ploughing up and down the pool, you've got a lot of time in your head. Obviously, depending on what the set is. If you're doing one length at a time, and you've got a lot of rest, I always said to people said, "Did you make sacrifices?" And I went, "Well, going training meant I got to hang out with my mates, so I didn't feel like I did anything different because my mates all did the same thing." But did I? You spend a lot of time in your head. You can sing, you can do homework, you can just get lost in your thoughts. for me, I got caught thinking about Jaws an awful lot, which was not a good thing.
I love
Uh,
that story actually because it's hilarious that you're in a pool, but you're worried about Jaws.
and I'm sure everyone's got these stories though that when they're a kid, or there was something that happened to them in their childhood, whether it be at home or something they saw out in life or something they saw on the TV. And when I saw Jaws, the movie, as I don't know, a 10, 11-year old, it had a profound effect on me because as stupid as that plastic shark is when you look at it now through grown up eyes, back then as a little kid, it was, I think the beauty of being younger and being a child is that you kind of see everything for what it is, right? Everything's raw and everything's real, and then the world molds you in a certain way, whether it's the way to behave, the way to be, or you just see stuff. And I saw Jaws, and I thought it was very real, very well. Sharks are real. Let's face it. Great white sharks are real. But it was traumatized into this. Yeah, Jaws was in the pool with me every day. Jaws was in the sea with me every day. I mean, Jaws could have come out of the toilet for all I knew. I mean, I didn't go that far, but whenever I was in the pool, it was a real thing. So I suppose what may have helped me was that I always thought, well, the slowest one's going to get caught by the shark. So make sure you're at the front of the pack, not the back of the pack.
Do you think fear motivated you more than ambition?
I don't know. I think it's probably a combination of. I think everybody would sort of say that there's the fear of failure, and I wasn't in fear of failing, but I suppose I think of the word fail from action I learned. You do something, you get a result. It might not be the result you want, but you go again, you go again. And what sport taught me was that whenever I touched the wall and I saw the results board, whether it be, and I knew it was good, bad, or indifferent. I didn't need any feedback from a coach or anybody else because I knew my best time.
Yeah.
So that was a very good way of dealing with situations that you kind of touch the wall, see it, you go, okay, I've got another race in an hour. I've got another race in a week. I've got another race in a month. So it's like, okay, well, I've got an opportunity to put it right again, or it went well. But I think in life, all of us will probably say that we learn more from when it doesn't go well than when it does go well, because we sort of go, well, of course it went well because I planned for it to go well. And when it doesn't go well, you go, oh, okay, let's think about this. Let's break it down. So swimming gave me a lot of good lessons. Sport gave me a lot of good lessons, which was just to keep going and going again and try again. And I do that with life in general, I think.
I know you would train and train and train and you're hoping for the best every time. But was there ever a time where you got to the pool and you were like, this is my day. I'm going to nail it. Or did you ever have that feeling and then you actually did?
Yeah, you kind of know in training leading up to competitions, because you do test swims in training, and also it's a bit like a skyscraper. The beginning of this, you need big foundations, and when you put the foundations in, you haven't had any injuries and things have gone really, really well. A few of the competitions leading into the big competition, let's say, have gone really well. So I know where I am. So yeah, when I step on the block, I kind of get a feeling of I know I'm in great shape. I know I know I'm swimming well. So and the beauty of sport, or the beauty in life, is really that when you do something over and over and over again, you get good at it. But the key is to let your head get out of the way and let your body take over. So when things go really well, what we're talking about, flow state or being in the now, which is you just do, you don't think. And when you do think, and I had this in a lot of races or several races where I kind of went, oh God, you tried too hard, or oh, God, but thoughts came in, and I knew when thoughts came in, I went, that ain't a good one. But then again, you've got to be present, you've got to be aware, but not. You just got to let your head really get out of the way and just let the body take over.
Did you find it difficult because you were keeping a really big secret?
Yeah.
So how did you how did you keep your mind from going over those things while you were trying to compete?
And I go back to one of the questions you said earlier, which just Mark. When I got on the block, it was kind of like, not a gladiator, that's a little bit extreme, but you're 1 in 8 people, because there's 8 people in the race, and I'm 1 in 8. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your name is, what language you speak, or how you've trained to get here. All of a sudden, you're just going to compete against each other. And I think when it came to that, it enabled me just to be me for that moment. I wasn't. Someone did say to me that you never won the Olympics because you're afraid to step into the spotlight. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's not, but we know the power of the brain. So would it have made a difference? It could have made a difference between the winning 6 world championships or becoming Olympic champion. I never became Olympic champion, but I won 6 world championships. I broke the world record 8 times. So clearly I was good enough.
Yeah.
It just didn't happen once every 4 years at the Olympic Games. So I can't honestly say, but what I can say is that I never stepped on the block going, don't win because people might find out your sexuality. I didn't have those thoughts going running through my head, and I never, but the brain's amazing, right? It gets very good at compartmentalizing things and putting things in spaces. So for that moment, I feel that I was allowed to leave the rest of that in the changing room while I went out and tried to do what I trained to do.
When I say the word Olympics, what flashes in your mind?
5 Olympic rings, the holy grail, just the biggest sporting event on earth. And I know people might go, "Oh, the World Cup." I'm like, that's one sport, that's football. But you've got every minority sport, and I'll say that because football's now in the Olympics, but you only allowed 3 pro players in your team. But every minority sport, everyone. American football's not in there, but from swimming to gymnastics to cycling to athletics to rowing to tennis, everything's there, and you've got the greatest athletes on earth coming together to play in this big sporting event called the Olympic Games. And the first time I saw it on TV as a kid was 1980 Olympics. And I saw someone called Duncan Goodhue win the Olympic gold medal. And I just remember going, I swim, he swims. Swimming's the first time I saw swimming on the TV. So I went, oh, that's cool. All I ever saw before was maybe football every now and again. And it became this dream, this pipe dream of going to this thing called the Olympic Games, which as a 10-year-old kid, I had no idea what it was all about. And then it became more and more achievable, attainable and relevant. Once every 4 years when I got there, I was like, oh my God, it's this thing that I've dreamed of being part of. And maybe that was another thing where I won the Worlds, won the Europeans, won the Commonwealths, and never achieved the ultimate because maybe it wasn't good enough on the day. But the other thing was it meant so much that I wanted it so much. And maybe I wanted it just a little bit too much.
Can you describe the walk from the athletes' village to the starting blocks? How did that feel?
It's all the build up for because it's once every 4 years. And if you say to someone within their job that once every 4 years, 12 minutes past 6 in the evening is going to be your moment. And if it doesn't happen, you're going to have to wait another 4 years for that moment. It's a weird concept. So the night before, knowing you're there, you're part of the team, you're in the Olympic Village, you try and go to sleep at night before your race the next morning, and trying to sleep is just because you're excited, because you're nervous. You just want to. You've done all this work. It's like the skyscraper. You've done all this work, all these foundations, and then all of a sudden the tip, the peak, the last brick is going to take place tomorrow, and you can't stop time. You can't suddenly say, "Oh, I'm not ready." It's like, no, this is going to happen whether you're ready or not. So you better be ready. And I went to bed in the evening. I replayed my race in my head over and over and over again, going through 21 seconds. Fortunately, it's not 2 hours, it's 21 seconds, but I could go over it and over it. And I'd always think of a positive result. I'd always think about winning. And then you kind of go, all right, I'm not going to sleep tonight, or I'm going to get not a lot of sleep tonight. So you try and put that to one side. Then you get up in the morning, you have a shave, you put your Olympic tracksuit on, you get your bag ready, you put all your stuff in it, everything you might need. And then you meet a couple of your teammates in the dinner hall. You might have some breakfast. You'd probably have some breakfast. And then you jump on a bus, takes you to the pool, and then you go through your routine. So an hour before I get in the water, I'd swim for about 20 minutes, and I'd get out and I'd put my suit on and I'd stay warm. I'd listen to a bit of music. I'd chat to a few people. I'd be conscious of the time. And then 15 minutes before the race, you go down round to what's called the calling room, where all the athletes need to be before the race. And then you see all your competitors, they're all there. You've seen them in the warm-up as well. You're sort of checking people out and go, oh, they're in good shape, and they're bad shape. Am I in good shape? Am I in bad shape? What's going to happen? And then you go into the call room. Heat 1 goes out. I'm probably in about heat 14 or 15. So all these heats are going out. All these races are happening. You're watching the scoreboard. You're seeing the times. You're sort of comparing yourself, and you're thinking, okay, let's get ready. Let's go. and then you step out behind the block, you start taking your tracksuit off, you put your goggles on your head, your hat on your head, you go through the process, and then all of a sudden you get on the block, take your marks, beep, and before you know it, you're at the other end of the pool, and you look around and go, "What was it like?" A lot going. There's a lot going on.
It's true. And that's it. You waited 4 years. It's every 4 years, as you said. Do you think you were addicted to chasing perfection?
Possibly. I mean, I think within sport or within life, sport's an easy one. You're always thinking about the perfect race. And, I broke the world record 8 times. Did I think any of them were perfect? No, pretty close. But, my perfect. I came out of the pool, and the brain's amazing. The brain computes about 8 million things a second. I mean, what goes on in your head and what it sees. I mean, what we do is amazing as human, our human bodies in general. And I'd always get out and I'd think that was good, that was really good, but I could do better. Whether it be the reaction of the block, the entry into the water, the first 3 kicks, the tempo, the finish, the turn, whatever it was, I could pick a hole in part of it. No, I couldn't destroy it because I knew it was good, but I could always find a tiny area where I could improve. And I think that came from, as an 11-year-old kid, I had a best time, and then I became the world record holder, but it was still my best time. So where do you go from there? Well, you got to go fast. You got to go faster. Otherwise, it's like, well, I've got to walk away because that's it. So I just maybe. I mean, maybe we're all perfectionists in a sense, because do we want the perfect life?
Yeah. I mean, I think that goes for anything in life, isn't it? We do something very well, people compliment you on it, and often we say, "Well, actually, I could have done this differently," or you always find a way to go around that conversation because you don't accept that compliment 100% all the time either.
Yeah, and sliding door moments that we could turn left, we could turn right, and sometimes feel that life's out of control. We have always got control in some capacity, but it's those little moments of, I don't know, when I stepped on the block, if I used to say to myself, "You are good. You are bloody good at this. You've done all the work. You've got you've put yourself in the best space possible, and if it doesn't happen, it didn't happen because I hadn't done the work. It didn't happen just because it didn't happen. So it's one of those things of not be. You can only be the best you can be.
Yeah.
And I gave myself the opportunity to be the best that I could be, rather than I didn't want to be one of these people, Kev, that was, "Oh, I could have done that. I should have done that, or I would have done that." I went, "Well, no, I did. I did it to the best of my ability. If it didn't work, it wasn't because I didn't put the work in."
How did it feel to have the whole country watching? You knew the whole country was watching you and backing you and cheering you on. Was that a lot of pressure on your shoulders?
No, no, because I think you only see what's in front of you. It might be 15,000 people in the swimming pool, but I kind of, I'd go back to being 1 in 8 people standing on a block. We're all about to experience the same thing together. It's who deals with those little moments a little bit better. The one that touches the wall first is the winner. But then I go back to, did I want to be Michael Phelps? I'd love to be, but I wasn't as good. Michael Phelps is Michael Phelps. Usain Bolt is Usain Bolt. All these Michael Jordan's Michael Jordan. These the greatest of the greatest are the greatest of the greatest. I was just one of the ones that just sat behind them. So I never beat myself up because I just thought it came down to being the best version of myself all the time, whatever I did. So, but yeah, the 15,000 people in front of you was, I'm 1 of 8 people. I'm in lane 3, I'm in lane 4, I'm in lane 5, I'm in lane whatever I'm in. And my objective is to get from here to there as quick as possible, forgetting I didn't even think about the people behind the lens. People at home behind that, they're not here. I just see what's in front of me here. And then all I used to think about was sitting behind a block and going, "Okay, there's a pool of water in front of me and there's a wall at the other end. And I've just got to go, me, water, wall, and let's get everything else out of the way. Any of those other distractions out of the way for that moment."
Yeah. Do you think that you learned more from your losses than you did your winnings?
Yeah. Yeah. Because you go into, okay, why? So if you touch the wall first and you break a record, you go, Well, of course, because of course that's what I set out to do. And then when you don't, you go, oh, okay, why didn't I? So you look at the little bits of, I don't know, what I did in the gym beforehand, what I was lifting, what I was doing, training I was doing in the pool, whether the right, was it the right training? And then of course, then when things don't go well, you go, okay, well, we did this to get here. Let's do something different next time because we want a different result. Whereas when it goes well, you go, okay, we did this. Let's do the same again because we got the work and we got the recipe correct. Now let's just do the same again. And you don't change that recipe until things go wrong again. Then you kind of go, oh, we need to tweak it. We need to try something different. So yeah, you learn a lot more when things don't go well.
You have a lot of big wins. I mean, you really do. So how did you stay grounded? Did it ever go to your head?
No, I took confidence from it when I became the world record holder. When I stepped on the block, I used to say, not all the time, but occasionally, because we all have some self-doubt that comes in. But one thing I used to say to myself is that I'm the fastest on the planet. Everyone else knows it. Everyone else knows I've done a time that they have never, ever done. So I'm not saying I'm going to do it on this day, but they know I'm capable of doing that time. So that's in their head already. So I took a little bit of confidence from that. But then again, you know, when you're hunting, you're sort of not in the spotlight, right? You're all hunting the Holy Grail. And then when you get the Holy Grail, you become the fastest. Now everyone behind you is like, you're the target. They're all coming for you. So there's lots of different ways of looking at it. But I used to stand there thinking, because on the scoreboard you used to have the 8 names, the clock would be on 0, and then at the bottom there'd be the world record. And I used to look at the bottom time and go, when it was mine, because it wasn't always mine, I used to look going, that's me. You lot haven't done that. I've done that. And you know, if I do that today, I'm going to beat you. So you better be at the top of your game. So yeah, there's a lot of mind games that go, not just inside your own head, but you know, there's stuff going on inside their heads as well.
Retirement can be pretty brutal for athletes. Did you find was that how it happened in your case? Did you grieve your athletic life?
I think we all grieve. It's called getting older. you kind of go, nah, I can't do what I used to do. You know, it's like getting the pool now, and I think, oh, I'll just push off the wall and I'll do a little sprint, and then I go, oh, I don't feel very good because it doesn't feel the way it used to. I retired at 38 because I knew my body couldn't do what it used to do. I knew my body couldn't do what I wanted it to do. And at some point, we all know, especially with sport, that you're going to get stronger, faster, and then eventually you're going to go down the other side. And I wanted to get out at the right time. You look at these people now, like God, Djokovic, 39 years of age. Messi's getting on. Ronaldo, 41. I'm not comparing myself to those, but in terms of the age and the performance, it goes. It's going to go. So I wanted to get out at the right time. Then it was kind of like, well, what are you going to do next? How are you going to reinvent yourself? What's Mark going to look like after Mark? You know, Mark the swimmer. That's my identity. What was Mark the swimmer doing now? And when there was no money in swimming, when I was sort of 16 to 21 years of age, I worked as a courier driver. I fitted double glazing windows. I was a groundsman. I was a lifeguard. I worked in a council office. I worked on building sites. I did lots of different jobs, because I had to make ends meet. You know, there was no money in swimming. So I kind of went, okay, when I retire, I'm not afraid of work. I'm not afraid of, one of my big things, I like moving. So
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of hard work. And then at the end of my career, I also thought, well, I could go into coaching because I know more about sprint coaching than anybody else. So I kind of had those things to fall back on. Then I did this show called Dancing with the Stars or Strictly Come Dancing in the UK. And I thought I got put on a Saturday night entertainment show, and all of a sudden people didn't know me for swimming, but they knew me as the swimmer that did Strictly. Never seen me swim, but they kind of knew me as that person. And then it opened up lots of doors. And I think my thing is I'm not afraid of failure. And I think when you're not afraid of failure or not afraid of taking yourself out of your comfort zone and trying new things, you learn stuff about yourself, you grow. But also I went, someone asked me to do some talks within the company. And I went, in my head, I was like, well, what am I going to talk about? And then I sat down with someone and they went, your life in sport relates to life in business or relates to life in general. So I put some stuff down on a bit of paper and it started. I had a spine and then I go off on tangents depending on what I needed to talk about. And I've now been doing sort of keynote speaking for 18 years. And I think, I then went, okay, well, that's what I do. And then I do a bit of TV and I do a bit of this and I do a bit of that. But I'll just try stuff. And in life in general with anybody, which is, how do you know you enjoy something unless you try it? So try it. And if you enjoy it, and it might not be the most fulfilling job in the world or the most highly paid job in the world, but if you enjoy it, it's not work.
Yeah.
Because if you enjoy what you do, it's not work. Work is something you really don't enjoy. Like when I trained early morning, plowing up and down a pool, and that hurt. That was hard. That was hard work. But then when I raced and I sprinted and I competed, I'm like, this is the fun bit. So, but I knew sometimes I had to do some of the bit I didn't like to do to get to the space where but it was stuff that I enjoyed.
Of course. What does freedom feel like today? I guess, yeah. So actually, we're gonna get to the book because I'm kind of gonna get into into those questions. But what does freedom feel like today compared to 20 years ago? Do you think?
Well, I mean, everyone's got their own story or their own version of their story. For me, growing up in the time in the late 70s, early 80s, when all I heard, this is about me, Mark being Mark. And my sexuality is not my be all and end all because it's not about that, but just allowing people just to be who they want to be. Back in the 70s and 80s, all I ever heard was being gay is not okay. So whether it be from the change room to the playground to Sunday school, what I heard and saw on the news, just language that was used was, I kind of went, okay, whatever I'm feeling, whatever I think I might be, I need to hide that away. And I think the landscape's changed an awful lot and it's still got a long way to go. I don't think we're anywhere near where we need to be because racism's still rife, homophobia's still rife. Has it got better? Yeah. Because of visibility, because of numbers of people, and education. I think people become a little bit more. I like to think people have become a bit more educated. There's still some idiots out there, though. There's a lot of idiots out there,
yep.
But I think it's a better landscape. But so, what do I think? Just people being who they are. Just let people be who they want to be, and just get on with it.
Have you finally become the version of yourself you've always wanted to be? Or do you think that's like a work in progress?
I think it'll always be a work in progress. I had truth tattooed on my wrist, which was basically, I now feel not safe enough, strong enough, whatever. I basically just say what's in my head, or I just speak the truth. Whereas before it would be kind of like, okay, what do you think people want to hear? What do you think what people want to see? And whereas now I'm just like, well, this is it. This is me. And I speak my truth and I act my truth. And that's where I am now. But that's 56 years of age. I wish I could have done it at 26 years of age, but hey, I can't turn the clock back.
No. My Double Life. It's the new book.
Yeah.
Why is now the time to tell the story?
Good question. First of all, my double life is not just about me leading a double life. That's part of the story, but it's 56 years of my life. There's 5 Olympics. There's 23 years of sport. There's growing up. There's mum and dad splitting up. There's first sexual revelations. Well, not a revelation, not like it's a Katie Price story, by the way. Not a kiss and tell. So there's lots of different things in there. Falling out with a performance director, a loss of a friend who died through a nut allergy. So it's not just about my double life and just about hiding a secret. That's part of it. The why now bit was because I got asked quite a few times to do a book, and I went, yeah, my private life's always been my private life. It's always been a secret. And I thought, well, why should it have to be a secret anymore? And it's not a secret anymore. But as a kid, I never felt safe enough to be myself. And that was probably because I never visibly had any role models who I felt I was like. So the only people I thought that I saw that were gay were people on TV, and they were people I'm nothing like them. So who am I? And I just think that through friends of mine like Tom Daly, Gareth Thomas, other people I've seen that have sort of stood out, so to speak, it might get that little kid who's a sportsman, or not a sportsman, they could be on the other side of the planet where people still death penalty for being themselves, or they might take a little bit of comfort or a little bit of strength that there's someone else like them, or someone else in the UK where we know still on the daily there's people beating up for just being who they are. They might. I just think visibility is key, conversation's key, and if I'm a little bit vulnerable about some of the stuff that happened to me, then it might help other people. I get lots of messages from doing the book from people that have gone, oh my God, I still can't come out. These are people that just still live a straight life with kids, and that's their choice. But I kind of, if it can help other people, then I think that's a good thing, right? If it can help one person, it's a good thing. So that's part of doing the story, was just to help. I said to the writer, my why's got to be that I can help people. Otherwise, what's the point?
How did you, after all these years of not living your true self or your true life, telling people that you were gay? So so fast forward into sport, and then Tom Daly comes out on national television.
Yeah.
How did you feel in that moment when you were watching that?
I felt proud for him that he felt comfortable enough, strong enough, pushed out because
Yeah.
I know the media can be bad. They can be obsessive. They can sensationalize stuff. So, but I mean, his story is his story. But I think the thing is, yeah, I felt good for him that he felt, however the situation came about, it was kind of like a little bit like, and I think that's what I found when I did certain aspects, when I spoke my truth on certain occasions, was that it was a bit of relief, like because I'm 24 years older than Tom Daly. But it's one of those things that you kind of go, it's a bit like Pandora's box. You hide this part of yourself away so deeply, and me a lot more than Tom, because I'm 24 years older. But it's something that's not really a big deal, becomes a massive deal to you. And my mates used to say to me, well, why didn't you say something? And I went, well, I was afraid the way you might respond. I was afraid you want to share a changing room with me, share a room with me. All these thoughts in my head were like, no, I'm not going to entertain that. So when I saw Tom come out, it was a bit like, good on you. And I think these little bits subconsciously in your brain fit into place, and you go, okay, maybe it's safe for you just to be yourself. And why can't you be yourself? And all these little conversations go on in the back of your head to the point you go, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. Which chapter was the hardest to write?
The one about my mate dying, Ross Bailey, who died of a nut allergy, who was training with me down in Bath. He was an athlete. He was the next up and coming Colin Jackson, the next hurdling sensation. He was Scottish and just the loveliest person, the fittest person. And to see someone, and I didn't know he had a nut allergy until the day, because he never spoke about it. It was never an issue. It was never a problem. But the day he was with me, we did gym in the morning. Then we sat in front of the TV. We put some bets on some horses, because there was a bit of horse racing on, and we were going to play golf in the afternoon. And we got a sandwich and we sat down, and he took a bite and he said, there's nuts in there. And I then went, oh, I didn't know you had a nut allergy. And he took his Ventolin. Anyway, the whole chapter's about Ross. And it's just frightening how someone so fit, young, could be taken down by nothing. It was the weirdest experience. It was horrific. It stays with me now, but it was just the whole day as it unfolded was like Twilight Zone. And I'm sure lots of people have got stuff that's happened to them. And yeah, just being part of it was horrific. But I had to put it in there because I just thought, to respect him and his life, and it was lovely. But also to make other people aware about, whether it be nut allergy, with anaphylactic shock, could be a bee sting, these little things. I used to sit on the plane when they went, well, no nuts today, and you're like, why? I love nuts. But then you kind of go, no, I get it. I really, really get it.
Yeah.
So it's horrific. So yeah, that chapter was hard.
Is there anything you left out of the book because you thought it was too personal to share?
I left quite a few stories out about mates of mine that are very famous, that when we got into sort of not naughty, well, naughtiness, let's call it. No, because it wasn't going to be a kiss and tell book.
Yeah.
Right. And I've got some extremely famous mates and I wasn't going to, just to sell a few more copies, I wasn't going to tell stories about them. Do I do anything else I hid out of there? It's difficult, because if you say you've got, obviously depending on your age, the older you are, the more there is. What can you remember? What do you want to share? What do you think people need to know or should know? What's important? If your life's 100 parts and you're going to put 10 in, you then go, okay, what are the important things I need to put in? But I've got to be truthful. But how do you put everything? You can't put everything because there's not enough pages. But then how much you need to put something? I mean, I knew a couple of friends of mine that wrote books, sports people, and I looked at it and I went, you ain't said anything, because I know them. So I didn't want to be that. But then again, how truthful do you want to be? Do you need, and how explicit do you need to be? You just need to be truthful and have enough, not enough in it so people read it. It's not about that. It's got to be truthful to a degree, but then how much detail do you put?
Exactly. What do you hope readers feel after they close that final page?
I don't know. They learned something about me. They will have. I wanted to help people that I kind of go, and it's not necessarily your sexuality or the color of your skin or what your religion is, who you sleep with. That's kind of really basically not important. But I think by me being open and vulnerable about some of the stuff that I spoke about, it's one of those things that a lot of people go through. Shit, good stuff, bad stuff, indifferent stuff. We all go through it. And I just felt that I wanted to do it so that there would be start conversation. I go into a lot of companies, I go into a lot of businesses, and by me being open and vulnerable about my stuff, and it's, I'm doing it on a big platform in front of everybody, but if people can just find someone that they can open up to about their stuff, and it's not just about sexuality, I should say, that you find it's quite interesting when I find that when I open up to people, it's interesting what people open up to me about. And it might be a phobia of spiders, it might be heights, it might be their partner, it might be whatever it might be. That, you've got a safe space where you can that's not a safe space, that's a book. But someone you can or some space you can go to and just be you for a minute.
What has the feedback been from close friends and family about the book? Have they learned something that they didn't know?
Yeah. Not my sisters and my family. Well, maybe my sisters, to be fair, they haven't given me feedback yet. My mum, who's my harshest critic.
I can relate to that.
We want our parents to be proud of us, right? And that was a big thing for me, not coming out as being gay, which was, what's my mum going to think? What's my dad going to think? Mum and dad split up. I didn't worry about dad so much. It was mum. Mum's my my role model. And you always want everyone wants the parents to be proud of them. But when I was doing the book, my mum and dad split up when I was 11 years of age. And lots of families split up. There's lots of divorces. It's not a big new thing. And why do they split up most of the time? Because someone has an affair or, but I put some stuff in there about my mum. And she went, oh, you can't put that in there at first. And I went, oh, okay, I'll tweak it. And of course, it wasn't tweaked so much. And I could have sworn I told it to get tweaked a little bit more, but it wasn't. And I went, oh, it wasn't meant to be. I mean, it was meant to be because it happened, but it wasn't meant to be or said in the way it was said. And but my mum, and I think I like to think parents always forgive. My mum's great, but I said, Mum, this is my story, not your story, and also it happened. We can't get away from the facts. And she was like, my friend's going to think, and I went, you're 84 years of age. Most of your friends are dead. and also all your friends know. So you're not trying to kill anybody. She goes, yeah, well, what about other people? I'm like, they don't know you. So what does it matter? And a lot of people that read the book that I don't know, I'm like, well, I don't care, but I don't care what people think. I mean, people will think what they want to think, and people will have thought what they wanted to think before they even knew me or met me. So I think my whole thing is that you can't please everybody. You can only be a version of yourself that you want people to see. And I think I'm all right, generally.
Yeah. If your Olympic career taught you how to win, what's taught you how to be happy?
Oh, I don't know about that. I think if you're happy with the version of yourself and you're just yourself, then hopefully other people will be happy with the version of yourself. I don't go around beating people up. I don't go around stabbing people. I don't go around robbing people. I just think if you can just be a nice person, and what's that saying? And I'm not religious, by the way. Do to others as you want others to do to you. Then that's it. So I think the thing is, if you're nice, you get nice back. Not always, because there's always some idiots out there. But generally, I kind of go, well, this is what I want, so this is what I give. And I don't want anything, but this is the energy I want. The energy you give across to people, really, and just try and be a nice person.
In 20 years from now, if someone hears your name, do you want them to remember you as the swimmer or the human being?
Human being, definitely not the dancer. Yeah, the human being. I just think that I've always tried to look out for. One of the things I got a couple of times with the book is a couple of people on social media messaged me who I used to go to school with, and I don't remember them. It's actually, I do vaguely remember them. And they went, "Can I just say thank you?" And I was like, "What about?" And they went, there was one in particular, he went, "We were at school, we were playing Bulldog. Bulldog's a game where someone stands in the middle and you try and take people down. It's a game." And he goes, it got a bit leery, and one of the kids basically wanted to beat the out of me. Not for anything. It wasn't gay. Wasn't anything. It was just whatever was going on. And he went, you stepped in, you stood up for me, and you stopped me being beaten up." And I've always had this thing about trying to protect people. And I don't like people being bullied. And I'm not the biggest person on the planet, but I was one of those things that I'll step in for other people, and I think it's when they're being unfairly treated. And I think that's part of why I did the book, which was to sort of put myself out there. A lot of people kind of go, "Oh, a sports person's gay, that means being gay is okay," which is a random way of thinking. But it's sort of like, I just think, but if I can help other people, that's what I want to do, is try and help and protect other people.
Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. I like to move into Kevjet's quick fire questions.
Go on then. Let's try and make them quick. If I can be quick, spontaneous.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Sunrise swim or sunset cocktail?
Sunrise swim.
Favorite Olympic city?
Sydney.
One word friends use to describe you?
An idiot.
Speedos or board shorts?
Nowadays, board shorts.
What's your biggest guilty pleasure?
Jelly sweets.
Last thing that made you cry?
Listening to a song. Music.
The last thing that made you laugh until it hurt?
The other half being an idiot.
Celebrity crush?
Oh God, that's I was going to say Sean Connery is not with us anymore. That was me as a kid, Sean Connery. So, but he's not anymore.
If Hollywood made your life into a movie, who plays Mark Foster?
You'd have to tell me who I look like.
Does he have to look like you, though?
True. I don't know. I was going to say George Clooney, but he hasn't got the right physique. I don't know. Good question. I don't know. Don't know.
Favorite comfort food?
Apple crumble and custard.
Oh, yeah. What's something you're still terrible at?
Reading books.
That's ironic.
I'm going to bullet point. I'm not the best. I think the thing that, and this is a long answer now, but I think because when I read stuff, I read it and I don't retain it. I've just never, I read snippets. If you give me the news, snippets. If it's a big thing, then I need time to sit down and read it.
If you weren't a swimmer, what would you be doing today?
As a kid, I was good with numbers, so I'd probably be an accountant. I always wanted to be an airline pilot. I always wanted to be a pilot, so maybe a pilot. I broke the world record 50 flies, so I did fly, but a pilot.
I was a flight attendant, actually, out of high school. Yeah, that's where Kevjet comes from.
Kevjet, there you go.
One song that instantly lifts your mood.
Kenny Saturn, You've Got the Love.
What's one thing people would be shocked to learn about you?
That I don't like deep water.
One piece of advice everyone needs to hear at least once in their life.
You get out what you put in.
Yep, love that. Finish this sentence. The best version of yourself begins when
you wake up. So more to that. That's just, I was just putting my head down listening to you, so I was like,
no. What's one question that you wish somebody would ask you, but nobody ever has?
I don't know. I was going to say you're all right, but I'm always all right. I don't know the answer to that, Kev.
That's completely fine. Imagine if someone. So finally, this is the last question. Imagine someone's listening today who's exhausted, doubting themselves, they're carrying a secret, or wondering if their best days are behind them. They may never become an Olympian, but they desperately need hope. What would you say directly to that person?
And we can all be as good as we can be. Otherwise, I would beat myself up for not being Michael Phelps, or, you can be, there's only one greatest, but you can be the best version of yourself. And tomorrow the sun will fall and it will rise again, and tomorrow's another day, and you can make tomorrow better than today. So there's always hope.
I love that. And I loved our conversation.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for taking the time to speak to Kevjet.
Thanks, Kev.